We have been studying voice change and we had learned some basic rules regarding how to change the voice from active to passive. In fact, I have taught you 7 rules where you need to identify the subject and the object of the sentence and change their position. Then you have to introduce by. You must convert the verb into the participle form, V3. Then you need to make to be in different forms like sometimes being, sometimes been. We must use the pronoun in the objective form like him, her, them, me, us, like that. We should use transitive verbs only in passive constructions. We also learned some of the basic conversion techniques by which we can convert one tense in present simple, progressive, continuous, or perfect progressive, or past simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect progressive into the passive form. These are the basic structures that we have been acquainted with in our previous classes. On this series, I had given you also a homework that you'll have to attempt some of the exercises which is there at the end of the passage. I had told you that try to minimum attempt 5 exercises of these. Those of you who have done, kindly raise your hands and I will ask one after another. So Rajkumar, solve question number 1 to 10. Start and be quick.
Practice exercises. Exercise 1. You should switch off the question number 1. You should switch off the electricity when changing a fuse. Answer. You should switch off the electricity when changing a fuse.
Usko, when changing the fuse, you just make a correction. First, you need to find out electricity. Electricity is the object. So the electricity should be switched off. The electricity should be switched off when the fuse is being changed. That's the correction. Okay? Now
Yes.
hereafter, you don't need to read the question, directly read the answer.
Answer number 2. So can I start?
Yes.
Too much money is being spent by the government on on Operation Pink. Uh,
Well, some corrections. Let me tell you, but just before that, the correction would be spend, spent, spent. So too much money is being spent by the government on Operation Pink. This is the meaning. Next, question
Question
number
number
3.
six new helipads have been built by them at Naila.
Yes. 6 new helipads have been built. Have been built. At Naila by them. That's the correct correction. Next one. Hmm.
Uh, by them at Naila.
No problem. No problem. Next.
Calendars and diaries are always always have been given by them at the New Year. At New Year,
Calendars and diaries are given by her to me at New Year.
question
Well,
number 5.
hmm,
Riddles and bedtime stories should be amused to him by you.
riddles and bedtime stories. Rattle and bedtime story. No, this is not a correct one because in this case, the object is amuse him. Amuse works on him. So, correction would be he has to be amused. He has to be amused by riddles and bedtime stories. Okay? Not by, with. He has to be amused with riddles and bedtime stories by you. Or you can use by you here. He has to be amused with. Right? Okay, this one is the correct. By you. Question number 6.
And you pill to stimulate the appetite.
Appetite.
A new pill to stimulate the appetite has been discovered by them.
Right. They discovered. Why did you have? No. Was discovered. It is in past simple. Next.
7. I fascinated me. It
No.
fascinated me.
Hmm. Yes.
No,
I was I was fascinated by it. If you want to write, don't write. It's okay. Next.
in this room, the wife has been killed by a Duque
It
of
is
the
not Duque.
16th
It
century.
is called as Duke.
In
It's
this
called
room,
as
the
Duke.
wife has been yes.
Hmm.
In this room, the wife has been killed by a Duke of the 16th century.
See, the object here is his wife. The object here is his wife. So remember, when the object is his wife, you have to begin it from the wife of the 16th century duke had been killed by the duke or himself in this room. This will be the correction. Then question number 9.
His symphony was performed by him for this first time last week.
Okay, the question is here. He performed the symphony for the first time last week. So the symphony, or you can say his symphony, was performed by him or himself for the first time last week. Question number 9. Oh, question number 10.
10. The house has been showed by the owner to them himself.
The house Showed is in past simple. So them is the object. So they were showed, shown. They were shown the house by the owner, or you can make it like the house was shown by the owner to them. So this is how you shall go about it. Some doubts have come in the chat box. Babya has asked, what is the meaning of stimulate? Stimulate, the word means encourage. The word stimulate means encourage. Okay. What is the meaning of the word appetite? Appetite means hunger. Pratik, mute yourself. Appetite means hunger. Third word is duke. Duke. Well, how do I explain? These people were found in the British courts. When the kings used to be there, जब राजा हुआ करते थे तो उनके कोर्ट में ड्यूक रहा करते थे. Who is a duke? A duke is a noble man. Okay? उनको कोर्ट में एक ऊंचा पद रैंक दिया जाता था. They were called as the duke. Then the next question which is asked is, uh, what is the meaning of the word symphony? Okay, symphony is an arrangement of musical notes. म्यूजिकल नोट्स को जब हम अरेंज करते हैं उससे जो बनता है उसे हम सिम्फनी कहते हैं. It is a long complex musical composition. Like in India, we call them to be badatan in Hindustani classical singing, and in South Indian singing, we call them to be tarang or varnam. These are musical composition. Like sometimes you might have heard, like some notes keep on repeating themselves in any piece of classical music, and it is mostly very very long. Okay. Like in this way, it keeps on going on. This is called as a symphony. So these are your doubts. Now let's proceed. Question number, at least we will finish one exercise and we'll study them. Then question number 11 to 20, this would be done by Sweta Padma.
Yes, sir. Number 11. Have his instructions been carried out by them?
So this is in the form of a question. Generally in questions, we see that they begin with the helping verb or the auxiliary verb. Have you taken your breakfast? Is he going outside? This is how these are being made. So, since these are made in this way, you have to take extra care that when you make a passive out of it, जब आप उसका पैसिव बनाते हो, आप पैसिव को भी क्वेश्चन स्ट्रक्चर में रखते हो. So, अगर ये सेंटेंस पॉजिटिव सेंटेंस होता, they have carried out his instructions. So the passive would be, his instructions have been carried out by them. His instructions have been carried out by them. So question अगर बन जाता है, तो have has to be taken to the beginning. Have his instructions been carried out by them? Has his instructions been carried out by them? Next, please.
Yes, sir. The fruit had to be picked very early in the morning by us.
Right. The fruit have to be picked. Why have to be picked? Because fruit is a plural. Remember, fruit is such a word, fruit is such a word that when you make a plural of it, we don't add s. बट बहुत से बच्चे क्या करते हैं फ्रूट में कॉमनली एस जोड़ देते हैं फ्रूट में कभी कभी एस यूज किया जाता है बट दैट इज अ वेरी रेयर अकरेंस उसका रूल है द फ्रूट हैव टू बी picked the fruit have to be picked by us very early in the morning. That is how you do this one. Next,
Hari was allowed to go, but Dick was not allowed to go by them.
right. So here there are two objects. One is Harry, and then there is another sentence they didn't allow Dick. So Harry was allowed to go, but Dick was not allowed to go. Yafir was not allowed by them or allowed to. Sorry, you have to introduce here too. Allowed to by them. So this would be the correction. Passive voice actually. Next, 14.
Some, yes, sir, some old people are oppressed with the fear of death.
Right. Some old people are oppressed. OPPRESSED. Oppressed by fear of death. Okay. Next.
I was advised by the judge to settle the matter out of court.
Correct. I was advised by the judge to settle the matter out of the court. Out of the court. Next.
Words were chosen with care by Rajiv.
Right. So Rajiv's words, because his is there. Rajiv's words were chosen by himself carefully or carefully chosen by him. This could be another way. Next,
Sir, ये वाला मेरा doubt.
if in the 16th century they could make history by building monuments, in the 20th century they can make it by selling and reselling them. Now, this is a very long piece of sentence actually. So that might have made one confused. What is the meaning? If in the 16th century, अगर 16th century में मतलब between 1500 to 1600, they could make history by building monuments. Monuments means big architectural structures, बड़े बड़े sculpted work, जैसे the Taj Mahal, जैसे the Cathedral of Basil, the Basil Church. These are big monuments. So 1600 और 16th century में लोग बड़े बड़े मॉन्यूमेंट बनाकर इतिहास रच पाते थे. In 20th century, they can make it by selling and reselling them. 20th century मतलब 1900 से 2000 के बीच में लोग उसी बिल्डिंग को बेचकर फिर से बेचकर इतिहास बनाते हैं क्योंकि they make a lot of amount of money by buying old buildings and reselling them. There are some people who are into this kind of business. They buy old buildings, very old buildings, they refurbish that, उसको refurniture करते हैं, refurbish करते हैं और फिर से उसे अच्छे दाम में बेच देते हैं. This is the meaning of the sentence. Now, what is the passive? उसके लिए तुम्हें identify करना पड़ेगा what are the objects. So यहाँ पे object है monuments. Oh, sorry. They could make history. So यहाँ पे object is history. So the passive would be if history could be made in the 16th century by building monuments, comma, it, sorry, comma, history. I'm using here again history because it was otherwise confuse the reader. History can be made, history can be made by selling and reselling them in the 20th century. So this is how you make it. Question number 18.
Yes, sir. Mary was promised a new doll on her birthday by them.
Mary was promised, right? So Mary was promised a new doll on her birthday by them. Yes, you are right.
I was never taught the rudiments of music.
I was never taught the rudiments of music. Okay. Here some students have asked, what does it mean by the rudiments of music? You should note it if you're asking. Rudiment means the basic. For example, if you want to learn music, you have to learn the basics. You have to learn the sur. Sur means the various notes. Then you have to learn tal. Tal means the rhythm. And you have to learn the lay. Lay means the tempo. How fast the music should go. इन तीनों में से अगर किसी में भी गलती होती है तो म्यूजिक कानों को अच्छा सुनाई नहीं देता. सो अगर तुम्हारी रुडिमेंट्स और बेसिक्स परफेक्ट नहीं है तो आपका म्यूजिक अच्छा नहीं हो सकता. सो आई वाज नेवर टॉट द rudiments of music by anyone because there is no one. Okay.
Yes.
या फिर I was not taught the rudiments of music ever by anyone. The next one is 20.
Yes.
Question 20.
All his calculations have been proved wrong by them.
All his calculations have been all his calculations have been proved wrong by them. Okay? All his calculations have been proved wrong by them. So this is how you make it. So in this case, also I see another doubt in the chat box. So what's the meaning of riddle? Riddle means puzzle. R-I-D-D-L-E. Riddle means a puzzle. We play many types of puzzles, like we have crossword riddles. We have other types of puzzles also that children like to play. Not only children, youngsters, adults, they also like to play. So riddle means puzzle. Some other question has been asked here, that is, what is the meaning of the word oppress? O-P-P-R-E-S-S. Oppress is a verb. The meaning of the word oppress is to pressurize someone, atyachar karna, to torture somebody, to control somebody by application of force. That's the meaning of oppress. Very nice. Thank you very much, the students, those who have tried to answer and tell the constructions of the in the passive in today's class. It's time to move further. We shall actually spend some time to learn a little bit more. And I had told all of you that I have given you a set of notes. Try to self-read at home. How many of you have self-read them, these rules at home? घर में किसने पढ़ने की कोशिश की है? Very good, Rajkumar, Sweta Padma, Tiklu, Ipsita, nice. Then Rudra Narayan, no, Rudra hasn't. Sahil, Ranveer has read. Pradyumna has read. Samir has read. Rudra has read. Okay, very nice. All those others who have not read, take some time to read. Yesterday, I was giving emphasis on reading. How much reading is important for you? Reading gives you a flair on the language. You get to know how to use the language in a better way if you read, regularly. So we shall spend some more time to learn about various tenses and the change of the voice. This is already taught to you. Present indefinite or present simple. Subject plus V1 plus object. And the passive would be subject plus be verb, that is or, am or are, plus V3 plus by plus agent. You are loved by us. The dishes are washed by her in the evening. We have learned it last class. Present continuous. In present continuous, the structure is subject plus or, am or are plus verb ing plus object. He is writing a letter, passive voice. A letter is being written by him. So subject plus is or, am or are plus being plus V3 by agent. Yes, Ram Swarup, what is your doubt?
नहीं सर डाउट नहीं तो मैं सेल्फ स्टडी के बारे में बोल रहे थे मैं सेल्फ स्टडी
अच्छा,
किया हूँ
तुमने पढ़ा है, good. Now, you are playing football. Football is being played by you. She's making coffee. Coffee is being made by her. So these are the expressions. Ram Swarup, lower your hand. Now, present perfect. We had learned it in the last class. Positive sentences. Subject plus has or have plus V3 plus object. जैसे, I have written a letter. Object is a letter. Letter is to be taken to the beginning. So a letter has been written by him or by me. A letter has been written by me. यहाँ पे हमने has been इसलिए बिठाया क्योंकि वहाँ पे letter है which is a third person. She has bought a scooter. A scooter has been bought by her. Buy, bought, bought. She has repaired the stereo. The stereo has been repaired by him. He has repaired the stereo. The stereo has been repaired by him. Now, in this sentences or in this book, the construction pattern for present perfect progressive is not given. But that doesn't mean that it is not there. Don't worry. I have already told you the present perfect progressive structure. For example, I have been discussing or I have been informing him, passive voice. He has been being informed by me. Today, let's focus on past tense and future time. Past simple, past indefinite. structure. The basic structure is subject plus V2 plus object. I wrote a letter. Passive voice would be subject plus was or were plus V3 by agent. Subject, like here in this case, the object becomes subject. So it would be a letter. Okay, we shall say a letter. Object becomes the subject. And then was, because letter is singular. Was. Then V3, write, wrote, written. Wrote becomes written. Then the subject is I. I becomes by me. So a letter was written by me. They won the game. The game was won by them. I purchased a book. A book was purchased by me. I hope you have understood this. Past continuous. If anyone has any doubt to understand, you can write it in the chat box. I will explain. Past continuous structure is subject plus was or were plus verb ing. Subject plus was or were plus verb ing plus object. Example, he was writing a letter. He was writing a letter. So here the object is a letter. The object is a letter. Take it to the front. Then was or were being. Was or were being. Here a letter is singular, so was being. Singular के पास was being बैठता है. Then V3. Write becomes written. Then by him. So this is the structure. A letter was being written by him. So remember, agent must be in the objective form. The agent must be in the objective form. Him, me, them, us. This would be the way. So what does it mean by agent in this rule? Agent in this rule means by whom the work is done. By whom the work is done. Here in this case, a letter was being written by him. So him is the agent. Okay? So the subject of the sentence becomes the object in the passive voice, which is written here in this case as agent. Some more examples of past continuous, like Ram was driving a car was being driven by Ram. We were flying the kites were being flown by us. Now coming to past perfect. In case of past perfect, the structure, you know that you have to use had this time. So had blades subject plus had plus V3 plus object. I had written a letter. He had written a letter, passive voice. A letter had been written by him. A letter had been written by him. What is the structure? So make the object the subject of the sentence. So letter becomes the subject, a letter. Then had becomes had been. Then write as a verb becomes V3 written. And then subject he, it becomes objective form of the pronoun by him. So this is the structure again in the case of past perfect. Similarly, one should have past perfect continuous or past perfect progressive. But in this one, past perfect progressive is not given. So write down the structural changes in case of past perfect progressive or past perfect continuous. We still today use past perfect continuous structures in passive. So that's why you should know. Past perfect continuous, the active form would be subject plus had plus been plus verb ing plus object. The O means object. Subject plus had been plus verb ing plus object. While the passive voice would be different. In the passive voice, you have to make the object as the subject. So you begin with the object in the subjective case, and then plus had been, plus being, plus V3, plus by, plus subject becoming object, or in the objective form. Example sentences. They had been ignoring, the demands of the poor. Meaning of the sentence. जो गरीब हैं उनका डिमांड वो बहुत समय से इग्नोर करते आ रहे हैं, मतलब उसको ध्यान नहीं देते. They had been ignoring the demands of the poor. So here in this case, the object is the demands of the poor. बाकी स्ट्रक्चर तुम्हें समझ में आ रहा होगा. So object को subject बनाओ in passive. The demands of the poor, then had been, being, V3, ignored by them. The demands of the poor had been being ignored by them. This is the passive conversion in case of past perfect progressive. Pratyanshu, you have unmuted yourself. Why?
Sir, I had not written past perfect.
Past perfect is there in the note that is supplied to you. You have been given a note. In that note, past perfect structure is given. So this is past perfect continuous structure. You keep it in your memory and try to use them. Now let us go to the next part, that is future. How do you go about in case of future? You know, future time, we have future simple, future progressive, and future perfect. But we don't have future perfect progressive. हमारे पास future simple, future progressive और future perfect तो रहता है, लेकिन future perfect progressive नहीं रहता. यहाँ पे future indefinite और future simple, प्रत्यंशु mute yourself, future simple और future perfect का structure दिया गया है. That you try to focus and try to learn. Structure in the case of future simple, future indefinite is subject plus shall or will plus V1 plus object. Example, I shall write a letter. I shall write a letter. Okay, so the passive voice should be subject plus will be, okay, or shall be, V3 by agent. A letter will be written by me. This is future perfect. A letter will be written by me. Some more examples. He will give you a pen. So here the object is you. So, or ya fir a pen. A pen shall be, will be, in this case will be. A pen will be given to you by him. A pen will be given to you by him. So what is the agent in this form? By him. By जिसके साथ लगता है वही agent है. Remember, Bhavya. She will phone you. So you will be phoned by her. So by her. Her is the agent. Future perfect. Here we use subject plus will or shall have plus V3. I shall have bought a pen. मैं एक पेन खरीद चुका हूँगा. मु गोटिए पेन किनी सारी थी भी. So that is future perfect. Passive would be a pen will have been bought by me. So subject के साथ will have been, फिर V3 बैठता है, and then by agent. But in this case, future continuous is not given. So let us learn how to make future continuous passives. Future continuous or future progressive. Future continuous or future progressive would be, structure would be like subject plus shall or will plus be plus verb ing plus object. Example sentence. I shall be writing a letter. I shall be writing a letter. Now passive construction. Here object comes the subjective form plus will or shall plus be plus being plus V3 plus subject taking the objective form. Now applying this rule, a letter shall be being written by me. A letter shall be being written by me. So this is the passive construction of that. Tiklo, you have asked here to give some more examples of present perfect continuous. I have been writing letters. I have been writing letters. Passive voice. Letters have been being written by me. Letters have been being written by me. This is another example. You have been searching for answers. Answers. Searching, searching. So answers have been being searched by you. So this is how you make it. So students, I hope all of you have understood how to construct future continuous and all the tenses, positive sentences. So I would expect all of you that you do work at home and try to do some more exercise, complete up to exercise number 7, everyone. Everyone should complete exercise up to exercise number 7. Thank you very much for your kind attention. Be regular. Have a good time, all of you. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Professor.
My
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye. Goodbye. My pleasure is.